So once you understand that process, then I will jump into the LOC, which will be created as an EMF. Again, that is primarily used for goods, right? Against a catalog supplier. Okay. Is that okay with Lucy? Is that okay for us to do a demo on the?
Oh, absolutely. Thanks, Praveen.
Okay. Sounds good. Thank you. So let me share my screen. So let's go back. Okay. So first thing first, let me log in as. So this NDRQ, again, this is one of the users from cardiology. Okay, this is a requisitioner. I think most of you probably already at this stage seen how the WBG will look going forward. Anyone who is new, I'm just repeating that there will be a tile or catalog called purchasing new. In that they will be seeing some tiles associated with buying and invoicing, which is all part of the new Ariba tiles. Okay, shop new. Today you have shop, which actually takes you to the old SRM system. But going forward, shop new will launch Ariba screen. Similarly, advanced search, supplier request, buying and invoicing, they are also going to be Ariba screens. Everything here that you see here is Ariba screens, except earmarked fund request, which is an application which is created in SAP directly, not in Ariba. But from end user, from usability or UI point of view, you will not know which system you are actually logging in as, because everything is through this gateway. Okay. So as an end user, I'm going to shop, create a service order. This actually launches the Ariba landing page, right? This is again a tile-based format where catalog suppliers you can see in every category, major categories. Anything that you want to create a non-catalog or describe your need kind of cards, that is something in Ariba we call it as requested non-catalog item. So to create a service PO, that is where you have to go. So you click on that request non-catalog item. So you see goods and services. So make sure that, because this is a professional service, click on the service icon. So in the test, what you can do is give the description. I mean, just this is basically the description of the PO that you're trying to set up with the supplier, right? Mm-hmm. So see pro. Yes. Okay. So category, I think now you are already familiar, but this is basically the standard UN SPSC codes, right? You can always do a search. We have more than 50,000 UN SPSC codes, but this is basically the driving factor for spend for purchasing team going forward, or even the leadership at the later stages. Okay, if they want to know at year end what is the spend for each and every category, these codes are really important to be part of every requisition. Okay, so I mean, it's very user friendly. If you already know what the code is, you'll get used to. You can type in the code number or directly here, or you can actually search what you're actually looking for, right? So in this case, I'll say professional, just because I don't know what professionals exist there. So I'm just looking for maybe professional procurement services, right? This is the UNSPC code assigned to this service. Okay. The start date of this service, let's say starting from tomorrow, and end date, let's give probably 4 months as an example, to August 15th. Description, again, this is a long text. If you want anything for the supplier to know in detail, you can put in all those details here. Like maybe if it is like supply of nitrogen, for example, and you want to add some additional information, you can always type in that info here. Okay.
Question. Oh, I'm so sorry.
Go ahead.
Quick question. Since we're doing services, non-catalog, the same would apply for service contracts, correct?
Yes. So non-service contract. Yes. So basically, you are right. If you have to create a service contract, it is the same menu. You have to go through, create a request for a non-catalog item and come here and
Any
select
services. Okay. Yeah, because come ending of June, I'll be creating many service contracts. So this is what I will be doing.
Exactly.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. Let's say that this is a monthly service of 5,000 each for 4 months. So let's say this is a 20,000 service. Okay, so today we don't know for procurement, professional procurement services who are our preferred suppliers. Let's say this is air gas. I mean, purchasing team is actually working on setting up the preferred supplier list. Maybe in production at Go Live, we will have for professional procurement services, you should be able to see that preferred list here. But in test, we haven't done that mapping yet. I'll wait for Jorge next week to give us that input and we can upload that. So for now, I'll select one test supplier because I actually wanted you to see how the supplier receives the PO on the network, how the supplier invoices, so you can connect end to end. So maybe it will be really helpful for you.
Somebody needs to mute their phone.
Okay, so this is one of the test supplier I've been using. Okay, ABC supplier. So I select that supplier, add to cart, check out. So the floor and room is not necessarily needed for services, but there is always a change of profile. For every user, they can go to their own attributes and default certain parameters like the floor and room can be always defaulted for every single cart if for this requisitioner. Similarly, if you always use only same fund or same WBS through same WBS fund, for example, you can also set up the default. The bill tools are defaulted, the ship tools are defaulted. So there are certain parameters you can default on every user, and that is something you can manage on your own, right? This user doesn't have any default for floor and room, so I'm just typing, some information here. Need by date. So because this is a service, and you know that service contract, this service is ending August 15. My assumption is you'll put the end date of that service. Okay. So going to the item detail, you haven't given the funding source yet on where the expense should hit, right? So go to open the accounting and then select the fund or WBS, right? You can also do split accounting. Okay. So for testing, let me use medicine budget because this is a medicine user. As you can see, the GL is also derived. So how did this get derived? It's basically because we selected the, when I go to other, the commodity code or the category we selected is professional services, right? In the backend system knows that for this is a GL code. So even though you are aware of the GL codes today, system is going to derive for you, right? Going forward. Okay, as you can see, you haven't submitted this yet, but you can already see that who are all your approvers, right? This tells me that because this is being created as a non-catalog item, right? This is like a describe your cart, describe your own request. Purchasing team is part of the approval process. Then there is a DEVA for this, and then there is a DA for this. Okay, so I'll just submit. As you can see, the PR number is nothing but the purchase requisition number. Going forward, so today you might know the shopping cart number, right? Tomorrow it's going to be the PR number. So this is going to be your request number for this. This is not a PO yet because it did not create a PO. It will not create a PO until it goes through all the approval steps. Okay. Submit. One second. I just did 5 minutes back at test. What happened? Radhika, you're on the call?
Yes, I'm here, Praveen.
Okay. There you go. Thank God. Okay. So I told my team not to touch anything in the demo system so that we are not stopped during the demo. But okay, this worked. Okay. So PR 3137. I don't want to go in every approval step and approve. I mean, to save time. So what I can do is I'll just, as an admin for this demo, I'll just remove these approval steps, right? As a user or as an approver, no one can delete any approvals. It has to go through all these approval steps, right? To speed up the process, I will just go ahead and remove all the approvals. Okay. Anyone in this call, I think, is this the first time they are seeing this, or if the answer, I mean, you can just message me yes in the chat. If there are few yeses, then I'll go at least show one approval step, how the end user will actually approve.
I deleted 2 approvals from behind, Praveen.
Okay, thank you.
There are 2 more left. Do you?
I'm just asking a question. If anyone want to see how to approve that they are not already seen. Any approvers on this meeting? All good now, thanks. Okay. Okay, yes, please. Okay, so let's go quickly and approve as this Diva. Okay. So Radhika, why don't you remove this? I'll approve as DA. Remove
Okay.
the Diva.
Okay, I removed Diva.
You. Okay, so it's still pending with Diva. So let me log into a different browser. So I'm not logging off with the other one. Okay, so let's see, choosing my work list. I need to log in as a DA to complete the approval. See a question, how do select vendor by name? That's a great question. So let's go back. I'll show that shortly. So when I actually typed in 0000150090, that is because I know the vendor number. But instead of typing the vendor number, if you know what is the description of the vendor, you can type the text and hit search. And then it will bring you the vendors with the text. Hope I answered that question. Harold says, I have no idea what is going on. Can we see real life examples from actual end user? So Harold, are you the requisitioner or approver? So the demo I'm doing right now is how to set up a professional service order.
This is Lucy. I just want to add, if this is the first demo that you've been to, you probably want to start with the general demos that were done 2 weeks ago that are posted out on our website. There's one more of these demos that is happening tomorrow, and these are all going to be posted on the website. Thanks.
Thanks, Lucy. Okay, so let me log in because there is one approval pending for the DA. So I went back into the Ariba landing page, right? In the approval, this is a DA, right? In the approval, so this is the, let me go back. 167. No, I'm in the wrong ID, sorry. In the TA, that's the TA test. Perfect. Let's go to shop. They should be getting emails as well. Every approval will be getting emails. They can act from the email, or they can come here to their landing page to approve, like to your approvals. They will see everything that's pending in their queue, right? So as you can see, this is what is pending in the queue. So they're going to go ahead and approve this request. They can add their own comments. Okay, so I'm going back as an end user now. Now this should be in submit. It's in submitted status because now it's fully approved. It should be either ordering or ordered status. Let's see. So it's already in ordered status. What does that tell me is there is a PO already created for this because it went through all the approvals, right? So this is a PO for this professional services will go to the supplier, right? How do I know that it went to the supplier? So if you can actually see the history, it tells me that this order was successfully sent via Ariba network to ABC supplier, right? That is my the supplier name. And Ariba network is basically the means of electronically sharing the POs and invoices with the suppliers. I think I did say this before. So because this supplier is on the Ariba network, you don't have to go back to this PO, print and email separately. Okay. This is one of the supplier that's chosen to be on the Ariba network, and purchasing team work with the supplier to be on the network. So they will be receiving POs electronically from us as soon as it's in ordered status. Okay. So I can actually click on the PO to see the details of the PO. So I know that this is not confirmed yet. So again, it did say that this PO also went to the supplier, and it's also carbon copied to ERP. ERP is nothing but your SAP financial system. Okay, and there is a commitment already created against the fund, and this should be part of your BW reporting as well. If you look at the POLC report, now it will say that against that fund, there is a commitment created against this against that fund, with, which is nothing but this PO for about 20,000. Okay, and the available amount of the PO is still 20,000 because there are no invoices received on this yet. Okay, any questions so far? But I'll actually jump and process an invoice just to show you how it will look.
Praveen, there's a few in the chat. One was,
Okay.
can we see what the actual PO looks like?
Okay, actual PO for supplier, how it will look like for the supplier, or how you want it to save as a PDF. Either way, let me show you both. Okay, so if you as you can see, what I did was, all I did was I clicked on this icon called View in Ariba Procurement. There is a print button here. There are a few changes that Jorge is working on in terms of adding more details, but the PO actually has, so this is your PDF copy. It will say what this is for, what is just need by date, whether there's a service or not, what is the unit price, etc. Right? And who is your ship to, bill to, who is your supplier. It will also say who is your, there is requisitioner field is missing, that we will be adding it. I think Jorge is already working with the Ariba team on that. It has the phone number of the end user who created this request, email ID of the end user who created the request. Okay, the terms and conditions going forward won't be even like embedded on the PO itself. What purchasing team is doing is they created a open URL link that when which is open across the globe. Basically, anyone, if they go to that URL, should be able to see the terms and conditions of WCMC. Okay, I think I opened that as one of the, yeah. So basically, this is going to be the URL where it will read all the terms and conditions. It won't be part of the PO itself going forward. It's just the URL will be there, and the user, the supplier can access the URL to see the terms. Okay, let me see some of the other questions you have. Okay, I hope, Brian, I answered your question. How does this work when dealing with an individual consultant and not a supplier? So the consultant have to be created as a supplier, because my assumption is you are going to pay the supplier through the PO process. So instead of selecting ABC supplier, in this case, assume Airgas, so you are going to select consultant supplier name. And if the supplier is not on the network, because it's individual consultant, then the process would be send the PO as manually to that supplier. There are two ordering methods that we set up. One is the print ordering method, then the second method is email ordering method. Most of the suppliers that you work with today, which is catalog and non-catalog suppliers, would be email, and purchasing team will be giving you that information. But anything like ad hoc suppliers who are like one-time suppliers or like consultants, you will have to send the PO. You will set up as a print ordering method, send the PO to the consultant. Once they send you the invoice, I'm assuming that they will be sending you an invoice copy to your email. That will go through the existing WCM PO invoice queue, existing process, no change there. Okay. So maybe have the ordering steps for the new vendor. That's a great question too. So when I was actually showing you the home page, the WBG guided buying page, you see something called supplier request. Going forward, you cannot create a request or a shopping cart or a requisition with no vendor, unknown vendor, right? The process going forward will be, if you know who the supplier that you want to place the order with, first you need to request a supplier. It has its own page. You have to enter certain details like what's the supplier name, let it's open, right? What is the business justification? If you have collected some of the information related to the supplier, input all that information, department who is requesting, and submit, right? This will go to the purchasing team, and purchasing team will review this and approve this for you, right? If you already collected W2s and W8s, you can also attach this and send it to the purchasing team, where they will register on behalf of supplier, because all the necessary information, including tax ID, is collected. But if you do not have all that information from the supplier, obviously purchasing team have to go to the supplier, collect the information, and process the registration process. So that might be, a couple more days than if you have the information. Purchasing team should be able to complete the process for you. And once the supplier request is completed, the requester who is submitting should be getting emails from purchasing team. I think it will also create an email systematically with the supplier number that was just created. Okay, and you can use that supplier for placing order.
I'm sorry, quick question. We always choose, oh God, where is it? Oh man, I lost it. Could you back up one screen, just one screen? I'm sorry.
The supplier request?
Yeah, we are always to choose, oh, where is it? Was it pay only? No, purchasing supplier, right? We always choose purchasing supplier.
It is the purchasing supplier, you're right. If you want to place a PO, always is purchasing supplier. Right?
Never pay only supplier, always purchasing supplier.
There will be training. I assume that there is a demo that already happened, but I'll check with the team. So you have an e-form payment requisition, right? So even there, if you are trying to request for a new supplier for pay only, this is the process. So first you wanted to request that supplier. But let me follow up with Jamal to see where we are with the training. And when the demo is planned. But for PO, yeah, always select the purchasing supplier.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. Okay, so let's go back. So now that I placed the order, right? So let's go to my other screen, ERQ. Let's come to the questions. Sorry about that. Maybe I have ordering steps. Okay, will the PO be sent to the requisitioner? Answer is yes. The person, this email ID, will be receiving the email notification that order, the approvals are complete, the order is done. When you said PO will be sent to requisitioner, if you're talking about as a PO print copy with attachment? No, I don't think, because everything is in the system right now, and there is a print option you can actually print. But the requisitioner do get notified that the requisition is approved and it's now a PO. Okay. Do we need to attach the quote or service agreement? Maybe Neil, do you? I don't think anyone here. I don't know the answer to that.
Neil answered in the chat, the next
Oh,
one.
he did. Okay. Yes, if it is the initiating steps of the request. Awesome.
Sorry, Praveen, I have a bad cough, so I'm trying to limit my talking.
Sounds good. No problem. Thanks, Neil. Okay, so how do we get the PDF PO? I thought I just said that. So if you click on the print, you can always print as PDF. Okay. So all those details will be provided to you by training as well, and there will be FAQs. So let me go back actually to the landing page of this. Let's close out. Okay. So yesterday I was explaining that you see something called Help Center here that I just clicked on the question mark. This will be expanded. Okay, so all these questions that you are having here, how do you get a PDF, like a PDF PO, how to create a requisition, how to approve, right? And how to send, how to create a service order for consultant. All those will be added as content links here with some, a very high level of, with a description of how to do it, right? If there is a URL or a job aid that we want you to go to, we will link that URL to each of the content here. So you can always search, right? This is our plan to make sure that this help center is expanded with all the questions and FAQs that we collected so far. Okay, but thanks for all the great questions coming in. Now, so as you can see, let me go and invoice this, right? This says ordered, right? As a supplier. So let me log in as a supplier, which you will, I'm doing this demo so that you understand how the end user can invoice you electronically from the Ariba network. So you get an understanding. It's not a demo, it's not a training session where you will never get into the screen, but it will be helpful for you to know what supplier will actually do if they are on the network. Okay, it's more for your information purpose, whatever I'm doing from here. I'm actually logging in as a supplier. So on my side here, it said that the PO actually went, when I clicked on this, right, it said the PO was transmitted to the supplier on the Ariba network. Okay, so if you can see order received, this is a supplier dashboard. Okay, it's all integrated systems, right? So now when they actually go into the purchase orders, they see the list of all the POs that they received from WCM. Again, this supplier might not be not have WCM as the only customer. They might have n number of customers. So they will clearly see like this order belongs to which customer, right? So in this case, this is the service order we just placed. The order status says new. Okay, so let's go in, and as a supplier, and I'm confirming the order, right? They need to confirm the order before they invoice us. So let's see, this is what 714 PO. So estimated completion, because this is a service, we said the delivery date is 15th. We'll put that end date and go forward with this. Submit. So, okay, so it says that the order confirmation is completed, acknowledged, right? So when we go back to Ariba, on our side, as a user, as a requisitioner, this is requisition, right? When you actually go in, you see that the confirmation is updated now. Before it was 0/1, now it's 1/1. Okay. Now let's say that now invoice is, we are creating an invoice now as a supplier. Okay. They're creating an invoice. And this is a part, this is a service. We said 4 months, each month is 5,000, right? So I'll say invoice 714, whatever information supplier is going to do. They are not going to tax us because we are tax exempt. So then they will be changing the invoice amount to 5,000 because this is just for April, right? I'll see. Okay. Next. They submit the invoice, right? Now, how does end user know that the invoice came in, right? So let's go back to the PO one more. I'm refreshing. Again, end user also gets notified that when the invoice comes in. When end user is actually creating this PO, right, requisition, they selected on the header screen by default, would you like to review the invoice for this order before it's paid? We said yesterday that this will be defaulted to yes, but if user do not want or department do not want to be part of the invoice approval process, they have to change it to no. But by default, if they want it, it's already set as yes, right? So invoice cannot be paid until this end user confirms that this professional services was actually performed, because we don't have a goods receipt process in here. Okay. So let's go back to the PO. So this is the invoice. So as an end user, he's seeing that there is an invoice that came from a user, right? They also get an email, but when they go to the PO on the invoice tab, they see that this is the invoice that came from the supplier, but it says reconciling. The status reconciling means invoice came in, but not ready for AP team to pay this vendor yet. Okay. So the reason for that, let me show you quickly.
Yeah, I can give you a copy of his hair if you want.
So there is something called a reconciliation document. It says the status is approving, means someone is, it is waiting for someone to approve it, right? If I see that this is actually the end user because they selected on the first screen that they want to review the invoice before it's paid, right? Again, I'm saying that they can approve it, right? So let me go back to their dashboard. I don't want to go through all these details because you might be lost with all the screens here. Let me go back to the home page. How can I approve an invoice? So as an end user, they will be getting an email. In addition to the email, as a day-to-day activity, they come to this approvals. They see that something is waiting in their queue. Okay, so they can see this and then approve this invoice. How can we increase the amount due to unanticipated charges? Is that specific to invoice? There is something called special handling charges. So Tony, are you seeing the supplier is sending us more, unanticipated charges on the invoice? If the answer is yes, yeah, they can always input special handling charges, and which will come into the approvals queue. They need to approve it before it gets paid.
Praveen, I'm sorry, question. PO change notices, will they still be in existence if we need to increase the amount of the PO?
Yeah, that's yes. So there is an option to do that as well.
Because that's what I've been using so far. Should I still be using that?
Can you ask that question again? Sorry.
I'm sorry, the PO change notices, because anytime I need to increase the PO amount and I have the supporting documentation justification,
Right.
I use the PO change notices.
So-
Will that be incorporated into this system, or is I'm still doing that separately?
Right. So let's say that this is 20,000 and you want to increase this amount to 21,000, right? The process for that is the end user do not have to send the PO change request form to purchasing team anymore. You have to go to the PR that you want to change, okay? And make a change, update the amount, but now you are updating the amount. That means that the fund approvers need to sign off as well. So what happens is for that additional amount, the approval flow will be re-triggered. And once it's fully approved, that change will be reflected to supplier. Until then, it won't be.
Very good. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay,
Oh,
but
I
to
have
your
a
question, yeah, sorry.
Sorry, just one question. For the equipment maintenance service contract, do we following the same process you just showed us?
Equipment service, anything related to services, yes, I assume you will do the same thing, which is create a service non-catalog item request, yes.
Like a maintenance contract. So we should follow the same service that you just showed us.
Is it going to be a fixed invoice with that supplier every month based on the agreed contract with them, or is it a variable?
It is a fixed amount, yes, but
Okay.
we normally do the maintenance contracts for 3 years,
Right.
and they invoice us every 3 months.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, yes, the answer to that question is yes, because this is a maintenance contract. You set up the PO for 3 years.
So there is no longer the fund reservation anymore, right?
So whatever so if you're setting up, so the outcome of that 3-year service order is basically a PO. So you are committing the funds for those 3-year period.
All right, but in New World, like in Ariba, there is no fund reservation anymore.
When you said fund, the FR, no,
Yeah.
okay. So that, so that's the reason I was asking. So today we have FRs created for equipment leases and rent leases, right? So I don't know if you have FRs created for maintenance contracts. Sorry,
Hey,
someone
Rick,
was
can I jump
speaking.
in real quick?
Sure. Hey, Jorge. How are
Hey,
you?
how are you guys?
Hi, Jorge. I have
Hi, I
another
just wanted to
question
jump in.
piggybacking what she just said. Go ahead.
As far as all farm reservations, so farm reservation will be no longer in process. So any farm reservations that you currently have in place, even if it expires within, let's say, 2 years from now, 3 years from now, will remain the same. Any new request for any type of maintenance agreement or any type of service agreement for any of the equipment will have to be processed as a service PO.
Okay, got it.
I hope that clarifies your question. I don't
Yes.
know.
Yes,
Yeah.
thank you so
My
much.
piggyback is, what if we did a service contract? We're in the last quarter.
Mhm.
This just happened. Last quarter, the vendor then sends the invoice to the lab manager. He then sends it to me. It then gets submitted. No, I'm sorry. The vendor sent it to finance, but lack of funding because the PO was short because of whatever reason. So the PO amount didn't match the initial amount that was given to me in the service contract. It was short by like a couple of hundred, 300, whatever. And then the vendor
Right.
himself said, no, forget it. He submitted again, or I don't know. But the point is, had I had to increase that service contract last quarter, increase it by $300, example, that would not have been an issue, correct? I would be using the same format that Praveen just showed us. Even
That
though
is
it's the
correct.
last quarter, it's not the beginning of the creation of the PO.
Yeah, no, that is fine.
So, okay. And then, supporting documentation, it would just be the invoice showing this is the real amount and the PO is lacking $300 or whatever. So the
Correct.
supporting documentation would be the invoice showing the lack of funds in the actual PO, correct?
Correct.
Thank you.
Yeah, because that's your supporting documentation for to justify the increase.
Right, and it doesn't matter if it's finishing the life of the PO, like a service contract 1 year or 3 year, whatever it is.
No,
Okay, thank you, thank you.
no.
Thanks, Jorge. Thanks for jumping on the call from your
No
vacation.
No, no
Okay,
problem. I was like, I got like 15 minutes to spare, so I was
gotcha.
like, let me
Okay.
jump in and see if anybody needs.
And I still have one final question, which if you give me a minute at the end, I still have a question about back end. Is there a solution for the multi-line order split billing? How do I do that? And I'm talking like 16, 20 line items, split billing on every single line item.
Yeah. So
Can that be covered at the end? I don't care, but I need to know.
absolutely. And so we are going to send you the instructions of the workaround solution that Neil is working on. We will send you that email. Actually, we'll send it to all of the users, you know.
Will there be a demo for that, showing that, the split billing multi-line items?
Yeah, we can plan that session as well. Again, I know that there are some training sessions coming up and some different awareness sessions happening starting from next week. So we will bring those topics in that call.
Oh, please, if you can include that, I would be very grateful and happy.
Okay, great.
Okay,
you.
guys, we have to let Praveen finish
Mhm.
the LOC demo. Thanks.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
So I just want to quickly show you one of the PO for the service, right? The invoices. So this is a service order. There were 2 invoices that came in, assuming that one is for April, the other one is May, right? The previous scenario I was talking about. So AP already paid one of the invoices. I just want you to know as an end user, how do you know if it is paid, right? So you don't want, you will have that information with you going forward, that you don't have to actually call AP to know whether your invoice is paid or not, right? So if you can see that the invoice that's processed by AP, the status is already in paid status. This tells you that this invoice is already paid. The supplier also gets notified that invoice is paid. You will know what is the method that you paid with, etc. Right? I think it will also give you the payment reference document number informations. This is also will be available on the reports. I think POLC report at least. But just wanted to give you that, you know, visibility that you have that feature as well if you need to. Okay, so let's go back to the user. Let me actually. So I'm still a requisitioner, right? Now, I just did a professional services demo. I think most of the LOC questions were on that yesterday. So I wanted to complete that demo. Now, let's say you have to place a LOC or EMF for your goods, right? For your catalog suppliers. So for that, the process is first you need to create a earmarked fund request. There is a tile on your WPG screen. It is your eForm PR monitor, very similar to eForm PR monitor. So this user, here you will see all the requests that this user have created in the past 3 years by default, right? If you even go to your eForm monitor where you create your TND and payment requisition, there will be another drop-down value there called earmarked fund. So even on that other monitor screen, you will be able to see that. But the tile I just clicked on will directly take you to the earmarked fund request monitor screen. Okay. From here, there's an option to create a new earmarked fund request. So it opens a new screen. So let me set up a new request for this user, a new EMF request. Basically, this is a LOC for your goods, let's say for medical supplies for one full fiscal year for one department, right? So you set up that with one of the supplier. So let's see, this is this demo. Justification is a detailed description field. There's no limit on the text that you can add here. This is more for the approvers to see what is the justification for this EMF. Okay. Who are part of the approvals for this EMF? Only the department approvals, which is the budget approvers, the DAs, DDs, and DIVAs. They are the approvers for this EMF. There is no purchasing approval involved in the EMF because bottom line, you're trying to commit the funds one fiscal year, and that's a department process. Okay, so this is test demo EMF 414. By default, earmark due date is the last day of the next fiscal year, but you can always change this date. But we are putting some default value. The assumption is, as I'm creating now, we are setting up the earmark due date for next fiscal year. Okay. Earmark title. This is something where when you're creating requisition catalog order within in the buying and invoicing or in the guided buying solution or in the Ariba system, right? So you already have an approved commitment document, right? And you are creating child orders against it. So we request that you put in a title which is identifiable in the Ariba system, right? This is more for you to find what is your commitment document when you're placing orders. So if yeah, the better usage of this description will be always helpful for your requisition screens. Vendor, this will give you the list of all your purchasing vendors here. So in this case, let's say I wanted to place this order for AppCam. Okay, that's the supplier. You can search if you know the vendor number, or you can search if you know the vendor text, both ways, right? Jill, same thing. As I said, this demo, we wanted to place this EMF for medical supplies. You can, if you know the GL code, you can search for it. If you know the description, you can search for it from this quick list. Okay. Going to the next step. This is where you input the funding details, right? Mostly, so EMF is always one line, where you are saying that this is your medical supplies request or IT supplies request, etc. Again, do not consider this to be your services, right? Services, service POs. This is for your goods. EMF is for your goods, right? So in this case, select your fund or WBS or the split that you wanted to fund this EMF from. Okay. So in this case, I'll say medicine fund. There is no limit on how many lines you can actually split from. So I'll see 10,000 coming from this fund. You can select the WBS as well. Let's see the WBS number for test purposes. I'll select anything. Okay. So 2,500, let's see that. Okay, next step. There is a request number created. This is just a form number. So as most of you already might have created eForm PR, payment requisition, you are kind of aware of what this request number means, right? So now there is a supporting document, which is optional. You can input, you can drag and drop. This is not mandatory, but it's recommended. So you can upload from your server or drag and drop. Any file formats is allowed here, right? I'm using Excel for this example. I go back to the question, is the title you entered for the EMF, the line item text shows up in BI reports? Absolutely, yes. The LOC report, we are enhancing so that the EMF details will also show up on the report, including the title. Okay. Vendor may have various addresses. How to check which address is under the vendor number? We will set up. We will cover this as part of the awareness, but there is a way to find that out. But we will show in a different demo. It will consume some time to go there. So before you submit, you review the details that you just inputted. It will give a summary of what your fund splitting is, and then supporting documents, which you can actually launch from the summary page. You still have an option to edit before you hit submit, right? But once you hit submit, you cannot edit because it's in the approval process. If the approver rejects it, it comes back to you for edit. Okay. Again, it's no different than what you actually are used to for the eForm PR. So now you can see that as soon as you hit submit, you are consuming the budget, right? There is a document. Why did I say that, right? The document number 422119, that is a earmarked fund document in the financial system, which is creating a commitment against these funds for those amounts. So if it is a grant, this one, you are already eating up the available amount of 2,500 from the grant. Okay, at submit, you are actually doing that. If if approver rejects it, then this amount will be released from that grant. Great question. What is IO number? IO is the internal order number. Internal order number is only used for ITS, but this solution that we are putting here is a global solution for all of New York. ITS uses IO, which is the lower level of fund and WBS for reporting purposes. Okay. So because I submitted the best practice, close out the screen, go back to your monitor. You should see the fourth one that you just created. Okay. You can actually see awaiting approvals. If you click on that, it will tell you who this who is the next approver for this, right? As I said, this person, this user is part of cardiology, which is a division within medicine. And this fund or WPS that was selected has the first level or the budget approver. So how do I know who the next level approver is? They will be getting emails too. All the approvals will be getting emails. Okay. So these are all the first level approvers because this is all the budget approvers on the fund or WPS that was selected on this form. Okay. So once this is approved, then it goes to the DIVA, then it goes to the DD. So with respect to the time that we have left, I don't want to go through all the approvals, but once all the approvals are done, the percentage is here changes to 100%. And once it changes to 100%, how do I place an order against this earmark fund document number, right? So let me go there actually. So assuming that all the approvals are done, EMF is approved. Only after EMF is approved, end user can start placing order against it. Until it is approved, you don't have that EMF available for buying against it. Okay. So if you go to the purchasing, again, go back to the shop. Most of these goods orders are again, the EMF usage most likely will be on the catalog orders, right? So I know that EMF I created is against AppCam. So I go to that catalog order for AppCam. Can we see approver names? Answer is yes, because in the test system, the user ID and password is set up as the ID itself. That's why you see that, but answer is yes. Okay, so you are trying to place an order for SARS-CoV-2 spike, whatever that is. So let's place that order. Nothing on the portal from supplier portal is going to change with this project, right? So this is a punch out. This is supplier view. Nothing on this will be changing, right? Add to basket. You can increase the quantity if you want, but let's check this out. Check out. So floor and room, as I said, if you default on your profile, always will be coming here by default, but these are mandatory fields if you don't default on your profile. Need by date, obviously you need to tell like when you want this order to order by, right? So floor, let's put some example here. So would you like to review the invoice? Again, it's up to user. If you think that this product for $490, you want to pay $490 to the supplier only after you the requisitioner reviews and approves, or you can if you think that is a mandatory step by default, I said it is yes, but you can always choose to no if you say that you want to speed up the payments to the vendor without any delays, right? I'll say no for this example because I showed the yes in the other screen, other example. So how do I connect the EMF, right? As you're placing the catalog order. So that is, EMF is nothing but another accounting object. You don't have to input funds in WBS anymore. You have to say what is the earmark fund that you are creating this order against. Okay. So in the accounting view, you have to select as part of the test, pick up one, maybe 13 here, one line, 422.13.001. As you can see, for end user, you can always search by ID or name if you know this number, or if you know that. So as I said, the description is critical for you to find, right? The more meaningful description you give, it's easy for you to find it here. At the same time, you will see the vendor number, you see the fund number, followed by the description that you inputted on the initial screen. Okay, so I'll select yes. then you also, there are two things, right? There is earmarked fund document always have the header and the line item, two things, right? So here, I know this is the one. Probably not. Choose. One second. Let me change the user. Yeah, I think most of you are already doing the LOC parent and child. I don't know how. When we looked at the last year data, we saw that at least 25% of departments use the parent and child concept in the existing environment. So this is very similar to that. EMF is considered parent, and then you're placing child orders against the EMF because you want to consume the budget which you set up for one fiscal year from the EMF. So maybe Jorge, you want to answer Luis there about WB Mason setting up EMF as well. So that's a great question. How do you distinguish earmark fund number that we created for a specific vendor from other EMFs created? So Jeff, you cannot even, the fund numbers will be available in that search, right? So you can, if you know the fund number you created, your EMF against, or the you can always search by that. The description is another way. And at the same time, if you're trying to input EMF that was created with AppCam by another department, it will give you a message saying that this EMF doesn't belong to your department.
Thanks, Praveen. So I'm just curious, like, what naming convention should we use to say, you know, Jeff created an AppCam EMF versus somebody else in pathology?
That's a great point. Do you want us to append maybe the department code in the description? Even if you don't populate, at least in the drop-down value, do you want we are already appending the vendor number and the fund number. Do you want also us to append the department code so that you can differentiate that?
What about a seaweed? That would help.
Okay, the requisitioner. Okay, that's awesome too. Yep, we'll make a note.
Thank you.
Sure. Radhika, if you can make that notes, please.
Yes, I did.
Thank you. Okay, so
there's one last question here, and it's now 12:01. So for regular POs, not lines of credit, we would use catalog and non-catalog orders question, requesting a supplier if necessary, using quotes if necessary as well.
For regular POs, not LOCs, we would use catalog and non-catalog orders, requesting a supplier if necessary, using quotes if necessary as well. I didn't follow the second step though.
I'm sorry, that was me, Ann. I'm just trying to I'm trying to understand everything so far. So that's the synopsis. The line of credit EMF is only if we need to reserve the funds. Otherwise, we would just use either the catalog, the non-catalog, requesting a supplier if necessary, and using attachment quotes as well. Correct? The line of credits are only EMFs. That's only for unit text, for example, or service contracts, or no, not service. Well, service contracts would also be EMF, but regular orders, catalog, non-catalog, that would not. I wouldn't need an EMF for that.
I mean, I can jump in here.
Sure.
So, and everything remains as is, like you do today, except that today, when we create a LOC, there are instances where we send the LOC to the supplier. So that will not happen tomorrow. So in this particular case, the EMF or the LOC that you create would be purely for the purposes of blocking funds. And then to your earlier point, it's perfect. You can create your catalog or non-catalog orders. And if the EMF has been created for that particular supplier, you can always use that as a reference and order your stuff.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome.
Yeah. Thanks, Neil. Okay. So I actually, as you were answering that, Neil, I went ahead and placed the order against the EMF. Okay, so if you can see, I use the EMF as a reference field. As you can see, the fund actually got derived, which is from the EMF document, right? So I don't had to input the fund, but it got derived from what you had in the fund, right? I used only one line item. As you can see, this fund line item, auto derived the fund. Okay. So what's the benefit here, right? I know one of the pain point you always had was maybe the child order is taking too long for you to place the order because it's going through all the approvals or something, right? As you can see, this is auto approved. The only thing that you are doing here, went to the catalog, selected the item that you want to buy, right? And then you entered the need by date. You don't have to enter room and floor because you, my assumption is every user will be setting their own defaults, right? Need by date is the only thing, and you selected the EMF, and that's it, right? When you submit, there is a PO now to the vendor, right? This becomes a legal document or where vendor can now start confirming the order or send the products for you. Okay. So there is no approval. Whenever you create a PO or requisition with respect to EMF, it doesn't go through approvals again. It's auto approved. So there is no delay here, right? But what is the benefit here by doing this? So now down the line, we know this is an item that is being procured, right? Maybe this is not existing on the LOC today. Maybe LOC at the high level, we know what is a GL code, but we don't know what products are actually being ordered, right? And what commodity codes it belongs to. So this actually gives a benefit for purchasing team on an yearly basis or quarterly basis to perform spend analytics. And this commodity code here is a key for that spend analytic, because right now the product is being procured from the catalog order, and it has a commodity code. They can use this commodity codes to say, okay, these many SARs were ordered in this quarter versus this year. So this gives a greater benefit for purchasing team to run their spend analytics and understand, and eventually, if maybe work with the suppliers to work, come up with a better pricing negotiations. Without this, they cannot do all that, conversations with the supplier. This is again more Jorge and Priscilla and Barbara to comment on, but I'm just giving my inputs based on all that I heard throughout some of the meetings. The benefit of placing a child order against EMF.
No,
Okay.
you're correct.
One other question, commodity code is, we must fill it all the time, correct? You cannot.
Yeah, you can search. You can search. You don't have to remember those numbers. You can just say, okay, what you're trying to do. No,
but I'm saying we
code
have
for,
to fill it.
Sorry?
We have to put in a commodity code, correct?
Not for the catalog items, no.
Okay.
Because vendor, when they're giving us the catalog to us, they already said this item is mapped to this. This is a universal code used across all customers, across all suppliers, right? This is not, and we are going to use it going forward with this project. So we talk the same language going forward with the commodity code.
But if it's a non-catalog item, would we have?
Then you have to select, then you have to search. So as I said in the
okay.
previous screen, you are trying to place a professional services, you search for that, you should be able to find. If you are looking for very specific commodity codes that you don't know how to find it, so again, purchasing team is always there for you to help out.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So I think that's pretty much from us, from my side, Lucy, Jorge.
I think
Sorry
we are
for-
done, and not to worry, we're taking all these questions that are in the chat that have been asked. They're all going to go into an FAQ document. and, you know, we'll get all that stuff answered by go live. So thank you for the questions.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you all.
Bye-bye.
Again, thanks.